The girl sat in the corner of the hospital room, her eyes wide, her lips pressed together in silence that had lasted over a year. The machines hummed around her, and the smell of antiseptic stung the air. A man in an expensive black suit, tie loosened, stood by her bedside with trembling hands. His name was Adrian Cross, one of the most feared and respected CEOs in the city. His empire stretched across continents, but in this moment, he looked small, crushed by something money couldn't fix. "I'll give you everything," he said, voice breaking. "If you can teach her to speak again. I'll give you everything." He was pleading, not to a doctor, not to a specialist, but to whoever might hear him. It wasn't supposed to be like this. His daughter, Emily, had been a force of nature, chatty, curious, singing at breakfast and asking questions faster than anyone could answer. But a car accident had stolen her words. Physically, she'd healed. Doctors said there was no brain damage, no reason she couldn't speak. And yet, she wouldn't. Trauma, they said. Emotional shock. She might never speak again. The best therapists, the most advanced speech technology, even celebrity child psychologists, Adrian had hired them all. Nothing. Emily stared at them, silent, her little hands twisting together. That night, when Adrian left the hospital and walked through the empty halls, he passed the janitor, a man in faded blue overalls, hair streaked with silver. His name tag read Martin. He was mopping the floor with slow, deliberate strokes, humming under his breath. Noticing Adrian's exhaustion, Martin said quietly, "Your little girl. Emily, right? I see her sometimes." Adrian, too drained to respond politely, just muttered, "She doesn't talk anymore." Martin set the mop aside and said something odd. "Sometimes, you have to stop asking her to speak. Sometimes, you have to give her something worth speaking for." The words lingered with Adrian that night. But what could that even mean? The next day, Martin showed up outside Emily's room, not in his uniform, but in jeans and a t-shirt. In his arms, he carried a dusty wooden box. Without asking permission, he sat in the chair beside her. Adrian almost told him to leave, but something in Emily's eyes stopped him. She was watching him. Martin opened the box and took out a battered old puppet, its fabric faded, one button eye missing. "This," he told Emily, "is Mr. Buttons. He's very shy, just like you. He doesn't talk to strangers. But maybe, he could talk to a friend?" Emily's gaze flicked to the puppet, then away. Martin didn't push. He didn't ask her to say anything. Instead, he spoke through Mr. Buttons, telling silly stories about the puppet getting lost in the hospital and sneaking into the kitchen for cookies. Emily's lips twitched once, just barely, but it was the first reaction anyone had seen in months. Every day, Martin came back. Sometimes with Mr. Buttons, sometimes with a deck of cards, sometimes with origami paper. He never asked her to talk. He just was there, telling stories, making quiet jokes, folding paper swans and pretending they could fly. He noticed small things, how she tapped her fingers when she liked something, how her eyes followed the puppet when it got scared, how she bit her lip when she was thinking. Weeks passed. Adrian watched with growing disbelief as his daughter began to change. She smiled more, tiny, fleeting smiles, but real. She even reached for Mr. Buttons once, holding him close. Adrian wanted to grab Martin and demand to know how he was doing this. But he stayed quiet. The breakthrough came on a rainy Tuesday. Martin brought a harmonica, playing a gentle, wobbly tune. Mr. Buttons asked Emily what she thought of the song. For a long moment, there was silence. Then, so soft it was almost missed, a single word escaped her lips. Again. Adrian froze. Martin didn't make a big deal of it. He just nodded, smiled, and played the song again. But Adrian's chest felt like it might burst. It wasn't just a sound, it was a choice. From then on, the words came slowly, like water trickling from a thawing stream. One word here, two words there. Martin never pushed, never acted surprised, he simply gave her reasons to speak. They made up games. They gave names to the paper swans. They told stories about a cookie kingdom that Emily had to describe in her own words. 3 months later, Emily was speaking in full sentences again. Not all the time, but enough that her laugh filled the room again. One evening, Adrian found Martin in the hallway, leaning on his mop. "You did it," Adrian said quietly. "You gave her back to me." "I meant what I said, I'll give you anything." "Name it." Martin looked at him, then shook his head. "You already paid me." "I haven't paid you a cent for what you did." "Yes, you have," Martin said softly. "I've been here 20 years. People walk past me like I'm part of the floor. But your little girl, she saw me. She listened. She let me be part of something again. That's worth more than anything you could give me." Adrian didn't know what to say. Months later, Emily walked into the hospital lobby on her own, holding Mr. Buttons in one hand. She spotted Martin and ran to him, her voice ringing out, "Guess what? I sang today." And in that moment, Adrian understood what Martin had meant. Sometimes, the most valuable thing you can give someone isn't money. It's being seen. It's being loved without conditions. Final message: healing doesn't always come from the most qualified or the most powerful. Sometimes, it comes from the quiet ones, the people who listen more than they speak, who show up when no one else will. And sometimes, that's all it takes to bring someone's voice back to life.